Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this incredible summit. I'm here very pleased to present this panel with my panelists. Let me start with some keynotes. Actually, it's very important to know that the objective of the financial director in the kingdom is to have a 70% non-cash transaction in 2025. It's very important to see how we are advancing in this section. The cashless payment has already proven a 7.6% increase in 2024, and it is compared to like 11.5 billion last year. So the the evolvement of the cashless transactions are really very exciting and very proven. The contactless cards are also on the rise, with 363.4 million transactions on the NFS in the 2024 February. But still, we can see that the cash is still a very important way of payment in the country. So let me, with those notes, start addressing my questions to, first of all, Mr. Laurent. One of the things I wanted to ask, I was thinking about, is what are the main challenges that we are trying to resolve in the cashless transaction era?
Well, I think in particular, it's making all that the formal economy, right? That we understand what's going on, that we can collect taxes, that we can make sure the money comes from right places, goes to right places. That's why you have all these regulations behind.
How about I was thinking more about the freelancing payment.
Yeah, freelancing is a very interesting topic. We're talking about 2.5 million freelancers registered, not considering on top, let's say, the non-formal ones. We're talking about 280 different professions, and that means that's a group that is completely heterogeneous, right? It goes from foreign workers working for a platform that is for transport and therefore regulated by Ministry of Transport. It goes to those that work on digital platform regulated by Ministry of Commerce and Telecommunication. You then have others for events, right? And then you have your doctor coming to visit you. Some do that as a main business, some do that as a side business, some have several businesses. Now, how do you categorize that? Typical banks, how do we look at that? It's very tough. It's not really a retail customer. It's not really a corporate customer.
Exactly.
It's somewhere between the two. That doesn't really fit the boxes. And that's where the complexity comes, and also the opportunities, because, not everybody is equipped to that. Now, add to that the fact that the unit economics are not great, right? You don't know how much they will transact. You don't know how regular they will transact. So giving them access to payment, but even more so to loans, is a very tricky approach that requires alternative scoring, different services, different systems that not everybody is equipped with. So it's a very interesting topic.
Great, thank you so much for that. But let me go to the, transact to the mobile wallet, Mr. Hadi. Does this help with freelancing?
First of all, let's talk about what is an e-wallet, right? So, an e-wallet is usually like a wallet, like we have a physical. It has cards and it has cash in my wallet, right? Mm-hmm. So I can have in the e-wallet cards, and then I can have cash, the balance in the wallet where I can transact this money, right? So once it's digital, it means it's on the web, so I can use it anywhere, from any time, anywhere, right? And if another user has another wallet, I can transfer that money for the freelancing job that has been done, or give some other kind of payments using the same technology, which is the digital payment itself.
Yeah, I don't want to focus only on the freelancing with the wallet, but what do you think about, how do we benefit more about the wallets?
Yes, sure. So again, so what is the e-wallet? The first e-wallet company in Saudi, like Sarah said, was a CC Pay. And then all the other telecom companies have their own e-wallet, mobile and Zain, right? This is where it evolved, because again, these telecom companies have already the client base already there, right? So I have a wallet, a mobile, right? And then I have a wallet on it using the same SIM card. That's why there's a big jump in wallet using in Saudi. That enables the digital payments, right? So digital payments can be B2B or B2C, whatever the case is. But again, to do that correctly, they have to do it through something called contactless, right? And the contactless technology itself is based on two types of technology, let's say. One called is RFID, and the other one called NFC, right? They're both the same technology, but the only difference is that one of them is like shorter range, which is NFC, that's what a near field communication, and the other one is like long ranges, which you can have a card on a card for road tolls, right? It depends. That's on how the usage.
How wide is the range?
Yes, right. Going back to the advantages of NFC using for the wallets, right? It's much easier, right? I don't have to do anything. I just tap and go. That's what they call it, right? But there's also some disadvantages, right? So that's why they don't use RFID, because they can be out of scamming. Skimming, someone have a wallet or a device that reads these cards and can take out the money, right? That's why the disadvantage of NFC is that the amount, it's not that much. So I think you can only have up to 400, 500 riyals transactions over NFC.
But the wider range can have more amount of transaction?
Again, it's not recommended to have a wide range.
Okay.
Just NFC is like short, like 5 centimeters.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that insight. Mr. Meshal, how are you today? Abdullah, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Meshal. Okay, what I gathered last time is that you guys are doing reports, and very exciting to know the main findings that you can share with us today, because I got that you got very big statistics and you have a big study. So can you share the main finding that you have, and then you can provide us with links or free access to get to know more about the reports?
So thank you so much, Maya, and thank you for hosting me and being part of this panel with the rest of amazing colleagues, and good morning, sabah al-khair for all the participants today. We at Checkout were privileged that we serve the largest enterprises and empowering them when it comes to their payment operations locally and globally. And since we sit at the core of this transformation that has happened, we decided since 2020 that we want to contribute through our own thought leadership perspective and share what is happening in the market of the ecosystem. So we started issuing a yearly report that basically reflects the evolution of the digital economy and the impact of payments in the MENA region, and obviously with a deep dive on the Saudi market. And we saw a massive and impressive transformation. I think you saw a couple of insights in the session before this. I think everyone over here in a way or another, this transformation have touched their lives, but it is mainly driven by a couple of things. One is obviously we have a younger population, but in addition to that, we have one of the highest adoption of technology and mobile solutions rate in the world. This have unlocked a tremendous amount of opportunities when it comes to payment, which have a direct impact on the digital economy. So when we look, for example, from 2020 until today, we saw 180% increase of consumers who had decided to buy online at least once a week, and a 90% increase of consumers who would say that we want to buy at least once a day. This is impressive. Now, that had a massive impact on two components that we need to take into consideration. The first thing is the type of payment options that people would use in consumers. One of them is definitely the higher adoption rate of wallets enabled by financial institutions and the advancement of the technology infrastructure over there. And in addition to that, higher adoption of buy now and pay later solutions, which is still enabled by the advancement of the regulatory landscape to enable such services. I still remember in 2019 and 2020 the days where we would attend the session and we would see that cash and delivery would represent more than 50%. And it was always about breaking that 50% mark. And based on our latest research, we see right now that actually consumers that we've surveyed would say that only 13% of them would prefer cash and delivery. So we see that dropping down, down, down. Without a doubt, such a thing would have an impact on a couple of other elements in our lives. One is unlocking new business opportunities and digital services that was not available for consumers before. Second thing, it introduces an opportunity and a challenge at the same time for businesses who didn't adopt what is happening or is going to adopt it later on what is the right way to move forward. Our report is public at the moment, and my colleague Raymond will be discussing more about the insights of this report at somewhere around 11:30, I believe, so don't miss it out.
130?
Not 130, 11:30.
11:30. Thank you so much. Welcome, Meshal, to us first. Thank you so much. Meshal was very excited to share with us the differentiators. You can take your breath first.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
As you know that digital payments and the landscape of Saudi Arabia has improved recently out the years. We have in Saudi Arabia here combined the technology from far west, far east, which we have them both in here. We see lots of e-wallet solutions that is coming into place, and I do believe that yet we have more room to have more players within the market. We do have opportunities here in the kingdom. We have built the infrastructure. One example is Mada. If we go back in the days, we see that span and then move to Mada later on, which we have a full infrastructure that we have the opportunity to even enhance more.
Very nice. I wanted to talk to you about what is the main differentiator. What do you see that Saudi can do now? And it is special to this country because it is in this part of the world and it's coming at this time. So the geographic and the time, what does it do for Saudi to make it very different and can take advantage of all the world's experience?
All right, so what is different in Saudi Arabia is that the market itself is adapting. We have a very huge buying power in Saudi Arabia. The generation here are young to adopt new technology. We have talented people that will differentiate us from the rest of the world. So basically we take the technology here and then we enhance it to match the culture. Then we export it to the outside world.
Very nice. So this is how we are taking advantage of the past experience, the technology of all over the world, adapting it to our culture and regulations and make it better for us to consume.
Correct. And also we have a very regulated market within the Saudi. So everything here is being regulated either from the regulators or the enablers, which have enhanced the technology itself, which make us different than the market. We do have here in Saudi a national scheme where you see in different countries only in international schemes, networks. So we having a national scheme here improved us and make us different than the rest of the world.
Thank you very much, Meshal. I'm going to go back to Laurent. I wanted you to talk to us more about the digital payment and how does it changing? Is it changing the banking system?
Yeah, dramatically, profoundly. Remember, payment until 7 years ago was a bank-only play, right? Only bank were doing payment, 12 local banks, 12 acquirers, period. Right? Very different than in the rest of the world. Now, in the meantime, it's been open to first aggregators and payment facilitators, non-bank acquirer. So the landscape is really opening. Quite frankly, it's a new pocket of profitability that was not there before. And so fintech really took advantage of that. As a result, they really specialized, actually beating the banks in many cases in terms of some specific aspects of the value prop. And so specialization is the first sort of consequence. The other one is what I would call disintermediation, right? And you've had now commerce platforms that are driving commerce first, but then with the underlying payment being, of course, always part of this flow, well, they now sort of own the relationship with its merchant, effectively a little more than what the bank would have, right? And so, well, when the bank looks at these two trends, you see specialization that requires now that you step up your game, see more competition driving the margins down, and then they see that risk of disintermediation. And so how do they typically react? Well, there's no typical reaction, right? Some create dedicated payment business outside of the banks. You see that everywhere in the world, so that they remain more focused and progress faster. Some work more in partnership and say, I'm going to embrace this fintech and actually live on the back of this fintech going to the market. Very different approach. And so you have all these sort of twists. What is certain is that partnership is at the core of those answers. Whether you embrace partnership or whether you are scared of them, it's up to every bank to take their spot. I think it's a world where you have to partner. I mean, payment is a scale business, and so you need to bring scale to your business, and partnership is a great way to do that. And so these are, for me, the multiple sort of elements that transform the way banks look at it, leading to more and more bundling of services, bundling of value-added services. Everybody realizes payment on its own is not where you're going to make the money. Payment is tough. It's a complex business for very little margin, but it is the cost of acquisition for bigger margin products that are typically lending and that sort of product.
So I gather that you're saying that the banks has to adapt and accept the newcomers. Maybe the acquisition or the partnership in one way or another is a win-win situation for everybody, for the newcomers and for and having the flexibility for the banks.
Yes, and a third possibility is that you create your own competitor, right? Which is what some banks, including mine, have done, where you create your own payment fintech and say, well, if we have to lose against faster fintech, might as well be losing against my own fintech, right? Which is another approach.
A little bit like changing the focus of the mainstream of the bank, having to create and operate a payment solution rather than taking like a solution that they made and people there are focusing on that.
Well, my view is that the product portfolio of the bank is so big between all the retail products, all the corporate products, that payment is a line of business with a disproportionate amount of complexity for a very tiny margin. So it's effectively the least sexy sort of product. If you forget what it brings, which means typically access to a much better relationship with the merchant, understanding of their data, and therefore leveraging that data to underwrite loans or accompany them with payrolls on the side. So it's for me, payment is a means to an end, more than the end.
To the product itself. Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Hadi. Let me ask you about what do you see in the regulation, development, and security? How do they enhance the customer experience?
Sure. So regulation is like, I mean, the financial industry itself is like a very important part of the economy, right? So that's why it has to be controlled. But again, like too much control will kill up the idea of innovation, right? That's why we have created something called Sandbox, right? Where these fintechs can come in, test their ideas and do market analysis and stuff like that, test the market. But again, regulation is a very important part. That's why Sam has come in and issued a lot of regulations into the fintech. And the most two important things that Sam has issued is the cybersecurity framework, right, and the anti-fraud, right. So when I say digital wallet is like a wallet, right. So if I have it in my pocket, I need to have secure. No one can steal it. It's on the cloud or on the web. It's digital. Again, cybersecurity is a very important factor, right. And there's a lot of ways where cybersecurity impacts the fintechs, right. So you have to have encryptions, again, the physical security itself, training the employees. So the cybersecurity framework covers all these aspects, right? So, because if it's digital, it has to have some cybersecurity. The other part is anti-fraud, right? So, again, the web has a lot of issues, right? The dark web, hacking, and fraud can happen, right? So, fraud is a very important part to enable the e-wallets and grow the economy itself using the e-wallet. And again, the anti-fraud regulation is out there, and it covers a lot of aspects. One of them, like, you put, blowers that, markers that put the transaction, if this happens, alarms get set off. Once the fintech companies have these two frameworks in place, then there's other regulations that SAM has, like, regulation for sandbox, account opening rules, the product itself, when you launch a new product, there's regulations on product launching, banking tariffy, like 8 or 9 regulatory policies that fintechs have to go through. But again, SAM has to have a balance between regulation and having space for creativity, right? And I think we are in a good spot right now. I mean, again, there's a new regulation coming out, or there's one regulation that came out for the payment itself. And the new one just has finished some Istiqlal, which is the local, seeing the market in it, and it's called the e-wallet regulation, right? So again, the e-wallet is going to be part of the financial industry. The banks are regularized, so that's why the e-wallets and the fintechs have to be also part of the regulation, so they can be incorporated in KYC, AML, all of these kind of things that are on the banks.
Thank you very much for that. And let me go back to Abdullah to tell us, how can you, based on the report that you guys are creating, how do you think we can protect, like Mr. Hadi was saying, enhance the customer protection?
Without a doubt, even if we provide the best payment options and solutions for anything, if the consumer do not trust it, they're not going to use it. I think this is a factor for all of us over here. One of the things that we have noticed, in general, not only specifically for the MENA region, but for the sector itself, is that there is massive advancement when it comes to consumer protection, authentication, and fraud prevention in general. I'm not going to dig deeper a lot on the consumer protection part, but in short, I think the regulatory framework within the kingdom is significantly advanced, whether it's within the financial sector itself by the central bank or within the commerce and business in general within the Ministry of Commerce. So there is already a very solid regulatory perspective over there. But I think what's worth to deep dive into is the advancement of the technology itself when it comes to preventing fraud and introducing new means for protection. We moved from a way where, scenarios where someone would only just use the CVV code to confirm a transaction to leveraging authentication solutions, biometrics authentication, authentication based on rules, and recently, right now, even leveraging machine learning to predict based on multiple factors of what the transaction data would include if this transaction might be fraudulent or not fraudulent and so on. That's a massive component that we need to take into consideration. Second thing that is worth considering too is the advancement of the cybersecurity front. You can introduce a lot of rules and regulations and tools to advance the protection of transactions, but the advances in the cybersecurity front when it comes to businesses running online have created a massive impact for all of these businesses. One of the interesting things that I'm seeing right now when I meet with different customers or merchants is that we move from a time where the CTO is the CTO and the CIO and the CISO and probably sometimes head of IT operations and many more things to have actually someone who's dedicated purely on the cybersecurity component to protect, to have a clear strategy, to understand what are they going to do moving forward, and so on. Without a doubt, these advancements is going to contribute to the adoption and the increase of new and better online payment solutions. And vice versa, if a consumer goes through an unfortunate experience, usually it's going to be very hard for such a consumer to turn back to protect it. And the unfortunate thing is that from a consumer point of view, they don't see what happens on the background, but they only see the merchant. So from their perspective, that's the thing that always needs to be top of mind when it comes to merchants and partners and enabling those merchants.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Abdul. Meshal, let me close by asking you about what do you think the opportunities of the cashless environment payment to bring to the economy? What can it bring to the economy more?
All right, so before I answer the question, I do agree with Abdullah in regards of the regulations and how the Saudi Arabia is controlling all of those risks. Regarding the cashless society, as you know, that is part of Vision 2030, so it will contribute into the economy in terms of reducing money laundering, reducing lots of risks and mitigate other risks, plus adapting to a new technology where it's already implemented within the kingdom. So cashless society, it will contribute a lot in terms of improving the economy itself, plus allowing other fintechs, e-wallets, aggregators to play within the market. So if we go like a few years ago, we see only banks are doing this. Nowadays, we have lots of new companies day after day. So I think during this panel, 4 fintechs company has been established already. We have seen lots of enhancements. SAMA is regulating the frameworks on, for example, open banking, banking as a service, and so on and so forth. So those types of technology indeed will contribute positively in the economy.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for this session. Thank you for all the great insight that we have today. I think we're ready to close.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, let's hear it for all our panelists and our moderator at this session, please. Let's hear it one more time. And we are definitely heading to a cashless kingdom, as I'm having problems right now having change wherever I go, to be honest with you. So everything is happening definitely with a cashless payment system. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to appreciate you all by giving you tokens of appreciation. As the moderator right now, will be handing over tokens of appreciations to our panelists. Starting with Mr. Laurent, Dhaeyer, Managing Partner, Fintech Group at Rajhi Banque.